Okay, great. So I changed the title a little bit because we ended up adding embedding models, fine tuning, and AutoTrain, and I think that's also an interesting topic for this conference, because some you will fine tune LLMs and then then you're going to use it. So a little bit about me. I work at HuggingFace, where I've been building AutoTrain and everything around it. And as you can see, like even from my posts, I talk a lot about AutoTrain. And I am also a caggler, but these days I'm not competing much. But I was the first one to get a grandmaster in all categories. Uh, that's something I like to brag about everywhere I go. Um, and now today we are going to look into what is AutoTrain. There was a question, what is AutoML and AutoTrain? I was very much interested in AutoML for a long time, but nowadays it's not about tuning the parameters so much. It's about like finding the correct loss and a correct data set, and that's probably what you need. Um, so we're going to take a look at what AutoTrain is and who should use it, the key features, and what are the benefits of AutoTrain, how to use, what are the available tasks, what are the features which are available, and we're going to take a look at fine tuning LLMs. We'll try to see if we can fine tune something live today. Hopefully, nothing breaks. And then we're going to take a look at the recently added task of sentence transformers fine tuning. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point. So, AutoTrain was previously known as AutoNLP, and it was a closed source project. I don't know how many people know about that, but like BERT had just come out, and everyone was crazy about BERT fine tuning for different downstream tasks. So we made something called AutoNLP where you could just upload your data and select the columns and select the model you want to fine tune, and that's it. And then we would fine tune on different sets of hyperparameters and present like how one model compares to the other, or like a different set of models. So you don't even have to choose the model if you don't want to choose the model. So that developed into AutoTrain, and we open sourced it. Um, la- I think end of last year or mid of last year, and since then we have been continuously adding many more tasks and listening to what the community says. So AutoTrain is the no code platform. There's a lot of different types of no code platforms. AutoTrain is one of them, and it's valuable for those who want to like use advanced machine learning, but they don't have a lot of expertise in and which is traditionally required. So like, but it's not just for those who don't have a lot of traditional expertise, but it's also for like data scientists. So I use AutoTrain all the time, and it's because it makes my iterations faster. So if I just have to check like what parameters are working or which model is good enough for me, I can just put in the dataset and let AutoTrain do its job. So it's like it can be used by everyone. So there's a lot of different kinds of trainers, and AutoTrain is not just about training or fine tuning large language models. It can do a lot more. So you have different types of natural language processing tasks that you can accomplish with AutoTrain. Like you have token classification, text classification, and then you have all different kinds of LLM tasks, some computer vision tasks like image recognition, image classification, object recognition, and even the tabular data tasks. And AutoTrain tries to streamline the workflow for you. Um, today we are going to talk more about large language models and how you can use AutoTrain to fine tune your own LLMs, like for either it's for chat or for your own data. Um, so AutoTrain tries to close the gap between um, sophisticated or new models that are coming in, and uh, it makes it easier to train models, and it leverages everything in Hugging Face. So like you have transformers, datasets, diffusers, the PEFT library, and others. One more important library there, framework I forgot here is Accelerate, and thanks to Zach for that. So yeah, it leverages almost everything which is already there in Hugging Face, and that's why like whenever a new model comes and it's supported in transformers, it doesn't take much time, or let's say it's also immediately supported by AutoTrain. um, yeah, so let's move on to start with AutoTrain. You can go to huggingface.co/autotrain and you will come across this page where you can click on create new project, and it will show you a screen like this where it shows you who owns it. So you can put in an organization if you want. Just give the space a name, and then you can attach hardware from Hugging Face. But it doesn't mean that you cannot do it locally. I'm going to come to that part too. You can train the model anywhere you want. So you can attach a hardware, and Hugging Face has a huge list of hardwares you can choose from, and then you click on duplicate space. After a few minutes, it's going to show you a space which has a login, and you need to log in with your Hugging Face account. And after you have done that, you will get a screen like this one. Now, here you can see, I think you might have seen some previous version of AutoTrain. This is the new one that we have tried to build, trying to make it much more user friendly by providing like drop downs and inputs for uh, different parameters. And on the side panel, you can select like what kind of task you're interested in. Here we have selected LMSFT, and the hardware is local or space. So your training is going to run in this space. So when you're running it locally, it's going to say the same thing, either local or space, and then you have logs and documentation and all different kinds of things. So these are the tasks that we currently support. We have the supervised fine tuning, different other kinds of LLM tasks like ORPO, DPO, or reward tuning. We have different kinds of sentence transformer fine tuning tasks and other test tasks like seek to seek, token classification. You also have some image tasks and tabular tasks, and all it requires you to uh, upload your data, choose the parameters or change the parameters if you want to change them. Most of the time they work out of the box. Sometimes they don't, and you can either choose to upload your own dataset, or you can just use the dataset from the Hugging Face hub for like almost all the tasks. So moving on to coming to fine tuning large language models, we have Autotrain offers you different tasks like SFT or generic fine tuning or PODPU and reward. And when we talk about supervised fine tuning or generic tasks, both of them are very much similar. The only difference here is SFT comes from TRLs, which is another library by Hugging Face, as SFT trainer is being used. but for generic fine tuning, it's not used. But both are pretty close to each other. And it's called supervised since we are collecting data from humans, but we still use cross entropy loss. And in like generic, what generic trainer does is to combine all the rows in one and like divide by block size that you have provided in parameters. And the only column here required here is text. So you must have seen like in the previous slide, there is something called column mapping. So this is something different in AutoTrain. So it doesn't expect you to have your data with the same columns as required, have the same column names, but you can actually map. So let's say in your data set, the column containing all the conversations is called conversation. So here you can write conversation. And yeah, so chat template is also available if your data is not formatted. Uh, if you want to format it using some kind of chat template, you can also do that. So this is an example of the dataset. So this is like wiki text. So a lot of people think like SFT can we can just do instruction tuning, but yeah, that's not true. You can use any data set you want, and you can just fine tune your existing large language model. So here we have a subset and we have a training, and we can use this. So this is data set from Hugging Face Hub, and you can just plug it into AutoTrain and use it directly. And I can show you that in a small demo later on. Here is another format where you have, which is a chat format, and where you have content and you have the role, and this is like the JSON lines format. But right, uh, what I'm showing you right now is obviously from Hugging Face Hub, so it's in datasets format. So here you can just use whatever kind of chat template which is suitable for your data. In this case, it's ChatML, and you can also select the Zephyr template, which expects a system prompt, or the tokenizer's chat template. So when you're selecting a model to fine tune, the tokenizer may have a chat template, and you can select that. But in like if you don't want to select a chat template and your data is in this format, you have to convert it to plain text. Then we come to reward model, reward trainer, which is also offered by AutoTrain, and you can train a custom reward model, which is more of a sequence classification task and determines which example pair is more relevant. And in that case, your dataset consists of two different columns. One is a chosen column and one is a rejected column. So when it comes to AutoTrain, it always has a text column for the dataset, and another column will become rejected text. Then ORPO or DPO, a lot of people are famous, are like really interested in training a DPO model, but I'm moving more towards ORPO because ORPO doesn't require a reference model, and it takes much less memory and much less compute. So I would recommend, like, if you're trying train a DPO model, you can probably try ORPO one first and see how it performs. And in this case, the dataset has three different columns. One is prompt, and then you have the chosen column and the rejected column, which are all conversations, the one that we are looking at right now. And even in case of ORPO or DPO trainer, you can use the chat templates. So dataset format, I think it's the most important thing when you're using AutoTrain. All you have to do is create the data and create it in a proper format. And once you have that, so like you can use a CSV dataset, you can use a JSON lines, JSONL dataset. In most cases, I would recommend you to use JSON lines, because then if you're using CSV, you have to convert. Like here, you can see the chosen and rejected columns and their list of dictionaries, and then you have to convert them into stringified list, which is not good. So JSON lines is much better, more readable. So one of the like formats, if I'm talking about like alpaca dataset, so here is a JSON line file, and it has like a key text, and it contains the formatted text. So if I have dataset in this format, I don't want to I don't have to use chat templates. But if I have dataset in the previous format that I've shown you, then you will probably want to use chat template. It's not going to work without that anyways. Or you can use chat template offline and convert your data into plain text, single column. Not for ORPO DBO, but for SFT trainer. So um, if you're looking at everything AutoTrain can be found in the Hugging Face repository, the GitHub repository. And if you have any like issues or feature requests, feel free to create feature requests or issues in the issues tab. So we try to um, resolve issues quite quickly, so you don't see many open, but you have a lot of them closed. And now comes another part. I think I should go back here to the presentation. So let's do this part quickly, and then I can go to training a model. So in the documentation, you have everything that you need, hopefully, to how do you install AutoTrain. So all you have to do is pip install AutoTrain Advanced, and then you can run the app. So to run the app, you need to provide your Hugging Face right token in an environment variable called hf underscore token, and then you can run the app. And then the app that I showed you before, you can run the app locally. So your trainings will run locally, and your token is only required like to push your trained model to the hub, or in case you want to train fine tune a model with a base model which is like gated, like most of the models that we have today, like Llama 3 or Mistral or anything. So app is not the only way to train a model. You can also use uh, config files. Everyone loves config files. And the config file originated from AutoTrain CLI. So you also have the CLI, so you can write AutoTrain space hyphen help, and it's going to show you all the CLI commands. You can train all the different kinds of tasks that you can train in the UI using CLI. But sometimes config files make it easier. So here you define the tasks. So you have a list of tasks that you can find in the documentation. It's the same list as is present in the UI. And so like LLM ORPO, and you define the base model that you want to use, and then you give your project a name because it requires an output folder to push everything, and whether you want to log it using TensorBoard or weights and biases or no logger at all, and backend, which is local. And then you provide everything related to the data. So now each task will have something different that is required for the data. Here we need the data path. Most of the tasks require you to have some kind of data path. And then a training split and validation split. If you don't have validation split, you can just put it as null. Then if you want to use chat template, put ChatML or Zephyr or tokenizer, or just set it to null, and then a column mapping. Um, Other than that, you have the parameters. So whatever the parameters you want to set, if you don't want to set all the parameters, you can set only 3, and everything else will be default. And then if you want to like push your model to the hub or not. So if you want to push your model to hub, then in that case, we require your Hugging Face token and your username under which we should push the trained model and datasets, if there are any. But otherwise, we don't you don't need to provide your Hugging Face token. If you want to keep your model locally, your model will be stored locally on this project name output folder. And like if you're using a data set which is a local data set, so here I've shown like you have to use here I've shown a data set from the Hugging Face hub, but you can use local data set. In that case, the path will be path to a train.csv or a train.json file, and your data set won't be pushed anywhere. It's going to be stored locally in case you have like sensitive data and you don't want to push it anywhere. Um, you can also like use Jarvis Lab is one of the sponsors of this course, and they are providing credits. So you can also go to Jarvis Labs, click on templates, and here is AutoTrain. You can just click on AutoTrain and you can start training a model. So like you can choose what kind of GPU you want, and here you have to enter your Hugging Face right token because it's running in cloud. So you have to store your models somewhere in the end. And then you just launch the instance and you have the fully fledged AutoTrain UI running on Jarvis Labs. Um, or like if you don't have much resources and you want to train a 70 billion parameter model, you can also rent them from TGX Cloud, where you can have up to 8 H100 GPUs. And yeah, so going back, I was in the GitHub repository, and a GitHub repository also provides you way to run AutoTrain on Colab, where I have created kind of like a like I've created like a small UI exclusively for Colab, so you can just use that, and you can like upload your data to Colab, and um, let me see if I can run it. And okay, so it will
By
run
the
for
way,
something.
I noticed that like whenever I tell people about AutoTrain and they go to the website, they actually don't ever find the GitHub repo from that site. Because it has like the user interface you click on and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, I actually like the GitHub repo a lot because I can like run it locally or whatever,
yeah.
just wait there. Um, is there a reason that it's not on the website? Or is it just like maybe just
Is it not on the website? So like
yeah, when I mean the website, I mean this one. Or let me just put it in our panelist chat here.
sure. Oh yeah, okay. And that's a pity. We'll add it tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
cool.
yeah. So like
So it's the same thing, right? Like that interface you get there is like using the code here.
yeah, it's the same thing. So for Colab, uh, uh, let it load. I will show you. But it's the same thing. Like you can deploy on Hugging Face Spaces from here, or you can use ngrok if you want the same UI as we run on Spaces, or you can just run everything locally anywhere, and you will get the same user interface. But most of the time, like people from what I've seen are mostly interested in running using a config file when they're running locally, or use the CLI instead. But yeah, we do provide like if you want to run the UI app or API or CLI or anything, you can run it anywhere. um, One more thing, like there is also a Docker container. So if you want to like use that, you don't have to worry about installing um, different kinds of stuff. So you can just pull from Hugging Face / AutoTrend Advanced Latest, and it's always updated to the main branch of the repository. So you can also start from there. So then you don't have to care about different kinds of dependencies. Okay, so this is still running. I'll come back to that later on. But like after clicking on create new project, it's a good suggestion. I should add the GitHub repo link here, and you'll come to this kind of page. So let's try to train. So it's right now it's running on L4 GPU. You can select in settings if you're running on HuggingFace Spaces. And okay, here I have. Okay, here I have the SFT task, and here I can select many different tasks here, but I don't think you see the drop down um, in the video. So I'll just select LLM SFT and sure, why not? And I can either upload my dataset or I can click on Hugging Face Hub, and then I have to provide the path to the dataset. So like wherever Abhishek slash whatever wherever the dataset is stored on Hugging Face Hub, and you can provide the training and validation splits. But right now we can just upload a dataset. So the alpaca JSON dataset that I was showing you, I can just put that. Um, and it already has the column name as text. If let's say the column name in the alpaca 1k JSON file was messages, then I would just write messages here. So right now it's text. And then I have many different options I can choose from. I also have like we don't try to overwhelm you with all the different parameters. Like so we have just determined the parameters that most of the users change, but you can always click on full uh, parameter mode, and then you get like a list of all the different kinds of parameters you can change from. And at any point you want, you can switch to JSON format if you feel like just copy and pasting the parameters from the GitHub repository. Or yeah, so here I have like here, if I want to change things, I can change like number of epochs. Let's make it one to make it faster for this one, and learning rate or gradient accumulations. And the explanation of like all the parameters is also provided in the repository in the parameters section. So if you have any confusion, you can just read up there. And then you click on start training. And then in the logs here, you can see like what's happening and how is the model training. In the meantime, I can probably switch to Colab and show you. Okay, yeah, so here is the Colab UI. It looks very much similar to what we have, but and probably will be improved at some point. But this is a Colab UI. But if you want to use the full UI, you can use the different link here. Run AutoTrain UI on Colab via ngrok. And in that case, you need to provide an ngrok token, and you can run everything on Colab. Okay, so yeah, so I think the model is training right now. Another thing like I wanted to mention was once the model is trained, it's going to be stored in your Hugging Face repository. And since like if you see right now, like I'm running it on Hugging Face environment, so downloads are pretty fast. Um, and once you are like done training the model, if you want to deploy it using inference endpoints on Hugging Face, you can do so. Like it's just like a single click. Um, if I go back to AutoTrain, we'll see here that it has already created a repository for me. So for the training that I have started, and once the training starts, I'll see a TensorBoard tab here, so where I can track the trainings live. And you can also you don't have to keep this space open, so you can close the space and come back, and just remember to set a sleep time which is higher than your training time. And yeah, once the training is done, feel free to use it anywhere. Auto train configs you can also find in the repository. So there is a configs folder, and if you go inside that, you have like config for many different kinds of all different kinds of tasks that we offer. And so like just for GPT-2 and Guanaco dataset, and you can just do auto train config and use the raw URL to just train on this config directly. Uh, One thing you should have noted already, you don't have a lot of parameters, so you cannot adjust like you want to use deep speed or FSDP, these kind of things. So FSDP is currently not supported, so anyways you cannot use it, but deep speed, when it's required, it will be used, and it's generally used only for multiple GPU setups. Like if you have 4 GPUs, it's going to run in deep speed mode. If you don't have 4 GPUs, then it's going to run distributed data parallel. So
Is
it's
QLoRa supported on deep speed
yeah, it
right
is.
now? Okay.
Yeah. So uh, thanks to Beft. And yeah, you don't have to adjust all these parameters. It's like all you need to think about is basically the data, and yeah, that takes most of the time. After that, everything becomes quite easy. And like yeah, I was saying like all of the tasks, they run like if you have 2 GPUs or if you have 4 GPUs, they run in multi GPU mode out of the box. So you don't have to change anything there, and everything is powered by accelerate, so you don't even have to do accelerate config. It uses its own config anyways. So the auto train command, it wraps accelerate, and it uses that one. um okay, I think we can take some questions, but before that I would just quickly show you like the different kinds of sentence transformer tasks that you can also do. So like if you want to improve your RAG models, so you can tune your own fine tune your own embedding model, or you can also start from scratch. So here I'm using MPNet base, but you can also use just like a word based uncased. um okay. I think the model is, yeah, so the model is training, and when the model is available, it's going to show up here. And with that, I think, yeah, okay, so this one was the sentence transform triple task, which I've already shown you, and thank you very much. I
Can
think,
you like log? Do you have like Axolotl has like whatever logging to weights and biases, kind of useful. Um, do you have something like that that you can
I'm
use?
sorry, I didn't get the question.
Oh, so like Axolotl, you can like log to weights and biases.
Oh yeah, you
Do you
can, you
have
can.
you can do that
So
here as well?
if you're using the UI, it's not possible. But if you're using your own config files, you can just write W and B here.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have your token exported somewhere when you're running the command.
And just so people know, like where the is there a good documentation about the config file? Like what are the different values, key values you can have and stuff like that?
Yeah, so from in documentation, we have shown you how to create the config files. But if you're looking for like any specific task, you will find the config files here. So it's like I've done recently for sentence transformers. Like I have config for each different kind of trainer, and for LLM fine tuning here, like we have like a config file for SFT, one ORPO, DPO, and like DPO QLoRa. If you want to run if you want to start your train locally but run in space, so you have a config for that too, and other configs should be based on that. But we always welcome, like if you want to improve the docs, or if you want to create your own config and share here or in a different repository, please feel free to create an issue, and if there's something missing, it will be added in less than 24 hours. So in the JSON, so yeah, there's a question about does AutoTrain lint the parameters so you don't pick the incompatible ones. So yeah, the parameters are based on a pydantic base model, so it's going to tell you. It's not you won't be able to select any incompatible parameter. Hyperparameter optimization we currently AutoTrain doesn't do for LLMs. It's going to take a lot of time. Fine tuning takes a lot of time, anyways, but it does hyperparameter optimization for some other tasks. The next question: how big of a model can you train on AutoTrain using a CPU option? I'm not sure. I never tried, but you can. So one more thing I should mention here, like you can also use AutoTrain on your M1, M2, M3 Mac. Can you add your own chat template? Technically, yes, you can. So all you have to do is clone the model and create your own model repository and go to tokenizer config.json, and inside that you have the chat template. So just change it and you can use uh, a model with a different chat template. So there are a couple of questions about creating synthetic data. So yeah, hopefully we will have something related to that soon. But as of now, we don't have that. So you need to come up with your own data set, but you can always go and generate your own synthetic data and use that instead. Another question. Yeah, okay. So another question, this was about tokenizer's chat template, tokenizer config.json. So I already answered it in a different question. So yeah, you can, yeah, that's correct. For a couple thousand rows, it takes I think 15 minutes to train. So this question was about how much time it's going, like ballpark. Yeah, I think I've answered most of the questions. If there's something that I missed, please let me know.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, this like Hamel said, we're big fans of the idea and excited to try it out. So thanks so much.
So just one more thing, like
Oh, yeah.
if we have time before.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the training that I started, and it had 1,000 rows of data. It was running on a T4, L4 GPU, I think. And the model training has finished, and it just pauses the space on its own, so that you don't spend money. But if you're running it locally or on some other cloud systems, it's not going to pause on its own. We ran this only for one epoch, so we don't have much, but we have like all the files that we need. And if you want to just deploy it, you can deploy it on many different options, or you can just copy them locally and just deploy it anywhere you want.
Nice.
Okay, thank you so much. Then
Yep.
thanks for having me. And
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Appreciate it.
bye.
Thanks.